Hi, Tim Allen for QSPNLive.com. So I've just arrived at the Meyers Incident Command Post, and today we're going to get a rare opportunity to see exactly what's going on in the fire in those hills right behind us. But first, I've got to get suited up and get trained. So as you can see, I've had to change out of my normal street gear and into, and what is this getting called, Michelle?
Nomex clothing.
Nomex clothing, which is fire resistant. And this is what I'll be wearing as we go inside the containment area today to look at things. Now, right now, Michelle is one of the PIO officers. She's going to show me and explain about this one piece of equipment that everybody carries that is possibly one of the most important ones that they carry, the fire shelter.
So, as Mr. Allen explained, this is a practice fire shelter. It's the same dimensions as a regular shelter. This is our last resort. This is our piece of life safety. If we need to utilize this, we are getting rid of our pack, our tool. We're going in with a radio and some water. We'll have our helmet, our safety goggles on, our gloves, and all of our Nomex will be cinched down tight. So that helps prevent any additional burning. If we have shrouds, we'll have those down over our neck to protect our necks. It is a tent made of thermal resisted, almost looks like tin foil. It's not tin foil, and it's made to withstand the winds. And as we go through the practice, I will shake it to simulate the winds that would be experienced during a fire front as it came through. When we select a shelter location, if we have time, we're going to ensure that we have low vegetation or no vegetation. Somewhere in the black is always good. We also want to make sure that we're not deploying somewhere where there are trees that could fall on top of us. And we're always going to deploy together, right next to each other. It helps give us a little bit more shielding from the heat, and we're going to talk to each other the whole time. And we'll also be talking, if possible, with our radios to command so that they know where we're at, what we're experiencing, and they can tell us and keep us up to date for the duration, which could be several hours that you could be within there until the fire front passes.
And I think that's important for people to understand. This is when things have gone horribly bad as far as the situation around the firefighters, and this is absolutely the last resort.
Yes, that's correct. We always have safety zones, safety routes, escape routes identified. There are times, though, that the fire and weather can align and things can go a different way than is expected or planned. And so we never want to be in this situation, and we hope that no one ever is, although unfortunately it does happen sometimes.
All right, well, this is something I have to learn how to do in case things go horribly bad. We don't expect to be anywhere near that today, but let's see what we got to do.
All right, so if you'll grab this tab and rip it open, you'll see another tab that comes. Just grab it and keep pulling this tab actually, and pull it right on out of the case. Okay, just throw that aside. Now you're going to pull this red one and flake it open. Keep going, and out of it. Throw that aside. We don't care. Now you see the hand holds. If you grab those two hand holds and deploy it. All right. So you see you have your left hand and right hand. What we're going to do.
Okay.
Open your head. Here we go. If you reach up inside of there, there's a hand hold in the corner. And I want you to put your left foot into this lower corner. And your right foot into the right corner. You can lean on me if you need. All right, now I'd like you to drop down to your knees. All right, lay flat. Put your feet and your hands in the corners as tight as you can get it. All right. This is your protection. The tighter you keep that down, the fewer hot air gases are going to get in. Okay, you may come out now.
Now look up here. Let's see how that went.
Excellent. You did wonderful. So imagine being in there for several hours, talking to each other, the wind's blowing like that. The flame front is very noisy. The fire is noisy, and it's hard to hear each other. So you'll be talking loud. It'll be very hot. You could be getting burned during that time.
If any of you have ever been to one of the high school bonfires, you've sat around a campfire that's really blazing, you think about just the heat and the sound from that. It's got to be 1,000 times probably louder and windier than that. And I can't even imagine the amount of wind that you would generate from a fire like that. You're shaking it, I'm sure, is not even remotely close to it.
I've never had to go through that. I've never had to deploy, which I'm quite grateful for. So I haven't had to imagine it.
All right, so now we're going to get ready, and we're going to go inside. So let's go see what we find, Michelle.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Thanks.
The Meyers Fire Incident Command Post, or ICP, is located just south of Skalkaho Road. From the ICP, Michelle took me back out to Road 5160 and drove a few miles south before turning west into the forest. We worked our way past several crews of firefighters until we got to a drop point just southeast of Zeke's Meadow. During the drive, we could see areas where flames still burned along the check line. This line was constructed by fire crews to slow the advance of the fire should it reach this point. The fires we saw were consuming fuel sources that would leave the main blaze without anything to burn if it ever got there. So as you can see right now, we are actually inside the Meyers Fire Containment Area. We're located southeast from Moose Lake and Zeke's Meadow. We'll show you a map of this, but if you look behind me here, what's really interesting is you can see that the smoke is down here, but you can also see there's still a lot of green left. And the fire, while it's consuming a lot of fuel, is not completely devastating everything within the fire area. That's something that we're going to hope to show you a little bit as we go along. But this area here is one that is designed as a drop point so that they can bring in equipment. They can drop supplies here, drop equipment here. If they had to, they might even be able to land a helicopter here so that they can get these things in and out that they need at any given time. Along with the fires that crews can see, one of the major concerns for the firefighters are things like burning stumps. These stumps can smolder for days, eventually relighting or burning through its root system to emerge somewhere else. So right now we're near the check line that the firefighters have established to hopefully slow this fire down in some cases. But as you can see, right here behind me, we have some active burning. It's a creeping ground fire that could be backing a little bit. And it's one of those things that you can see a lot of the fuel through here has been cleared out, and just the ground material has been left so that as the fire hits it, it slows. Now, obviously, fire burns uphill when it really wants to, but depending upon the weather, it could actually start burning back down into the green again. But again, as you start to look behind me and you see that there's fire, there's still a lot of green here and a lot of stuff that the firefighters have done to try and make sure that this place is still usable, still beautiful once this incident is over. So what you see behind me now is a log stack. Now this log stack was created when they made the check lines and the fire breaks. These log stacks were put here to reduce the fuel load in those areas so that the fire either slows or comes to a complete stop. Now these log decks, if they need to, later will be hauled out of here if the fire advances so that they don't become just a giant campfire. So we're here with one of the division leaders, Devin Haney. And Devin, where are you from?
I'm from Alamosa, Colorado.
Okay, and what's your rank and position out here?
On this fire, I'm the Division Tango Whiskey trainee,
Okay.
group supervisor.
And so your group here, again, we're kind of on this southeast part of the fire, as we said, southeast from Zeke's Meadow and Moose Lake. So what is your group's task out here? What is it you're trying to accomplish in this particular area?
So we're continuing to improve our holding lines by removing the fuels from our constructed line breaks in the effort that if we need to do burnout operations, that we have success in holding them.
And so, as we talked a little bit, this operation really is not about what people traditionally think of as attacking a fire directly. It's a lot of indirect work. What does that indirect work kind of entail?
Well, you know, the difference between indirect and direct is that, you know, your proximity to the fire. And so the indirect, we've identified that we can't safely attack this fire in close proximity. And so that's the main difference of what we're doing here. You know, it's just changed the way we're battling this one in particular.
And so a lot of this wood that looks like a giant stack of firewood, you're moving out of the fire's way so it can't burn.
That's correct. So we're attempting to deprive the main fire of sources of fuel.
All right, and so is that pretty much your task for the rest of the day, I guess? I just heard on the radio.
Yeah, that's the rest of our task for today. You know, we'll continue to improve our containment lines in an effort to be prepared for the event that we have to use them.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Devin. We appreciate it, and I hope you guys stay safe.
Well, thank you. Appreciate your time.
So what we have here is an example of delimbing the trees. Now, by getting rid of these branches that are on the lower parts of the trees, it keeps the fire down on the ground and burning in the grasses, which is a slower, less intense fire. When the fire gets up into the trees, that's when we start to see a more intense fire, a faster fire, and a fire that can jump thousands of feet just by the embers floating through the air. So this kind of thing is also extremely helpful around your home. If you have trees around your home, you want beautiful trees, but you also want safe trees. And especially during fire season, taking these kinds of things out could slow a fire that's approaching your house and help the firefighters have a chance to save your home. So that's what it looks like here inside the Meyers Fire Containment Area, just southwest of Georgetown Lake and Phillipsburg. These men and women are fighting hard to make sure that your home and property are safe, as well as their lives and their equipment. This is something that I hope you can appreciate and take to heart, that these guys are doing their best every day to make sure that you're safe at home. Reporting for QSPN Live, this is Tim Allen.